economists, chambers of commerce, etc., have also expressed concern over the rising debt. How serious a situation does this look like from your point of view as a senator? How much of a national crisis is it?
Well, let me first of all say that I'm not against borrowing. Even the greatest countries in the world, America, Japan, China, all are big borrowers. But they borrow for physical, tangible, and accountable projects that you spread and pay over time. But my worry is not even in the borrowing, it's what you borrow for. Let me give you quickly a rundown of what I checked. You see, in June 2023, $500 million was borrowed for women program to scale up what they call NPWPSC. Can you see that? Can Nigerians see it? Where are the women? Then on June 23rd, the same day, $800 million was borrowed to cushion the impact of high petrol prices after fuel subsidy removal. How? Where? Then on September 23rd, 2003, under the same government, $700 million was borrowed again for Adolescent Girls Initiative for Learning and Empowerment. Then, on December 23rd, the same thing, $750 million borrowed through what they call renewable energy scale-up. Then, June 2024, $1.5 billion was borrowed to support Nigeria's reform for economic stabilization to enable transformation.
That one sounds very spurious, I have to be honest.
Okay, you see? Then in June 24th, $750 million again was borrowed for immediate financial and technical support for efforts to stabilize economy and to scale up support to the poor and most economically at risk. Then on September...
Well, they would argue, that particular one, that they've been making payments to a lot of poor people.
Where are the poor people?
Some of their cash transfers and things like that.
Look, whenever you're doing something, if it is true, somebody will come out to say thank you.
But are these loans, are they approved by the National Assembly? I mean, do they pass through your Senate for approval?
No, what passes through the Senate so far as this is this are itemized.
Right, the bulk of it passes.
No, the bulk.
Through.
You don't pass the bulk. You pass the itemized. If, for example,
right.
before.
So were all these itemized things approved?
Not to my.
So you're saying they're extra?
Not to my knowledge. Not to my knowledge.
Because I know that
such amount. There was the medium-term expenditure framework.
Right.
It's something that they bring and we look at and maybe approve it, but that is not to say it's a blanket.
So you're saying these things have bypassed the National Assembly?
That is it, so far.
The reason I say that is that I know that in November 2024, the Senate approved, like, I don't know, 1.7 trillion naira or something to that effect that the government had requested, which is like several...
No, it's not. Charles, get it clear. Before you pass the budget annually, there's the midterm expenditure framework that must come before the National Assembly for approval. These are the things that the government is anticipating to spend, but that is not to say that even if it is approved, it is a blanket approval. No.
Right.
Every item, every of this...
must be accounted.
Yes.
Right.
No, because you need to ask questions. How are you going to do that? How is it important? And when is the money? What are the terms? All these things are supposed to be discussed first before you engage in it. That is the National Assembly approval. But as I said, when you total these borrowings, the figure I got here is about $9.45 billion, which translates to about 13 trillion. And as I said, I mentioned most of them. These are items that are either intangible. Those items are not, it has nothing to do with infrastructure. I would have supported, for example, that the country is borrowing even more than that to build our infrastructures, to build railway, to build our
But you're
roads.
saying that these things that you're mentioning,
yes,
they're not tangible things.
They are not
that
tangible
you can
things
hold on
that you can hold on to.
Right.
And these are things that you pay in the next 40, 50 years.
Yeah,
that time we are gone, our children will... Are you going to tell my child, am I going to tell my child or grandchildren that We borrowed 700 million and we're paying in 20, 30 years for adolescent girls initiative.
Yeah, but you have to remember something, and that is the fact that human capital is an essential, in fact, probably some would argue the most essential part of development. That if you don't develop human capital,
but let me tell you,
then you're not actually going to go anywhere.
Nigeria, fortunately, have enough human capital that we need to tap in. Remember, Charles, including yourself, you only don't provide service in Nigeria, but you also
you're always pointing me. I don't understand.
No, but
I'm going to have to go after you.
The closest person to me. You are serving in Nigeria as one of the best journalists, and because of your performance, you are working with the BBC, isn't it? Or you go part-time there to provide service with other organizations. We have the human capital or human resources, so to say. It's just to harness it.
Let me ask you this: do you believe that you are acting in accordance with your best principles as a senator and a member of the ruling party by these whistleblowing actions that you're taking, and that you are preserving the rule of law in Nigeria?
Yeah, right. But let me correct that. You see, I'm a bona fide member of APC. In fact, one of those that signed onto the initial formation of APC. And Nigeria is my country. And as I said, I don't have any other country.
Well, you've made that point emphatically, and I always get worried when you start going in that direction.
Because I promise not to touch you again.
But let me ask you, because we're running out of time. Time has been galloping ahead. I mean, how does all this, because I remember, I noticed you mentioned somewhere about 2027. Does all this play into 2027?
I hear them talking about 2027 all the time, but for me, I'm not. I'm talking about today and at most tomorrow. I'm 65. I thank God for my life. All these people shouting about 2027, they don't believe in God. Because 2027 is a year ahead. And we don't know whether Ndume is going to be alive then or even the president. And they are busy shouting about 2027.
Yeah,
they
have
not finished. Wait now, we have not finished with the mandate. We are just 2 years. In fact, until next month, the president is not 2 years old. And you are talking about 2027. Let him finish. By the time the president is performing very well and Nigerians are happy, nobody will come and start talking about competing with Mr. President. It will be automatic. But as it is now, they keep on talking nonsense as far as I'm concerned. Because, as I said, 3 things will determine whether this government is going to succeed or not. 1 is security. 2 is welfare of its citizens. And 3, that is related to the welfare, is the economy itself. If it is not performing, then you can go and be talking nonsense. It will not work.
Let me ask you a final question. Why does it appear to be only you, of the many senators in the National Assembly, including members of the opposition, who draws attention to these alleged excesses? Does that suggest that all the others are complicit in these violations?
No, that is not. I'm Mohammed Ali Ndume. God created me differently, and I'm going to account for my actions. If everything is to go the way I want, there would have been only one person in the Senate, and that's me. But that is not. So we have 109 of us, different senatorial districts, different makeup. God does not create 2 persons at a time. So I cannot speak, and I cannot say my colleagues, but let me tell you, I have the support of the people, including my colleagues. The only difference is that they can't come out and take the bullet the way I do.
They don't have the guts.
They don't have, not that they don't have the guts, but they're always thinking that something will come. No, not me.
On that note, I have to say that the intrepid Senator Ali Ndume, it's always a pleasure having you here. He is